Presentation is entitled How to Find and Fix Quality Score Problems. I'm your presenter, Larry Kim, and I just thought I would start this morning by kind of a reminder of why quality score matters. You see, quality score, it's the single point of leverage that affects absolutely everything in your PPC account. It affects your impression share, like how many times your ads are going to be eligible to show, the minimum first page bid, as well as your actual cost per click. Of course, your ad rank or the position of your ads, as well as a special consideration for having your ad appear above the organic search results at the very top of the page. I think it's super important because it also indirectly affects your conversion rates. Like by following high quality score best practices, you tend to improve the conversion rates on your site after they click on your ads. It can even simplify and improve your bidding and reporting strategies if you follow all these best practices we'll be talking about today. And so I guess you could say, I personally believe that AdWords quality score is probably the most important campaign metric that you ought to be focusing on improving. And so that brings me to today's agenda, which is our presentation on how to find and fix quality score issues. So last month we actually did a webinar entitled in Understanding Quality Score, and it covered a lot of information about quality score in general, how it's calculated, etc. And afterwards we got a lot of it was well attended. We got a lot of questions about the presentation, and one of the things that came up was great. So we know how quality score is calculated and why it's important. But what do I do about it, and how specifically can WordStream help me do something about this this challenge? And so that's really the topic of today's webinar. We'll be starting off with a very quick recap of some of the materials that we covered last month around just a recap of how quality score is calculated and some of the best practices that we talked about in general. So that'll be a review for anyone who was here last month. But I expect most of the time to be spent on more specifics on how specifically WordStream enables you to realize the best practices that we talked about, and how this will impact your quality score. We'll also talk briefly about diagnosing different quality score issues and how to kind of slice and dice the data. And at the end of the presentation, there'll be a question and answer period. You can ask a question at any time during this presentation by typing into the bottom right-hand side of your screen. All right, so that's the agenda. Before getting into all the details, I just want to introduce myself for anyone who I've not spoken to before. My name is Larry Kim. I'm the founder and CTO of WordStream. I've been doing paid search and organic search for about 10 years now, both initially as a kind of in-house role, but later on as a consultant. Have a bit of an electrical engineering background, and found that it was, AdWords is hard, and quality score is really hard, and so I developed some programs to help advertisers, master their PPC accounts, the performance, namely by developing innovative technologies that kind of automate best practices around quality score optimization. And so that's what we do today. We're an industry-leading provider of pay-per-click management tools and keyword research tools. And in a nutshell, we help people get their websites found on the internet. And there's a couple pictures of me from my vacation last year. Okay, so back to the details here, and just a very quick recap of the components of quality score and how it's calculated. And remember that quality score was a score from 1 to 10 for all the keywords in your account, and that the score was determined based on various factors, the largest of which was click-through rate, and the other components included the relevancy of your ad text to the keywords that you're bidding on, as well as the relevancy of the landing page to the ad text and keywords that you're bidding on, as well as other factors. That's a bit like mystery. I don't know what that is. They don't tell us exactly. In a nutshell, we're trying to get these high quality score ads, but you see how the biggest component here, the click-through rate, that's sort of a dependent variable, meaning like you do things in your account and then you try to get a high click-through rate. It's not like you can just set your click-through rate like the way you can set your bids. And so in a nutshell, we're going to be focusing on these factors, the factors that we have control over, the keyword selection, the ad text, the landing page, which in turn should help us do better in search by improving the click-through rate, which in turn will improve our quality score. Just a little bit more details about the click-through rate component of the quality score calculation. It's the most significant component of quality score. Really, quality score optimization boils down to trying to engage in certain best practices that will raise our click-through rate. Just some notes here. Google uses this component because it's sort of a really great indicator of relevancy, because if people aren't clicking on your ads, it's probably not very relevant. And so Google normalizes click-through rates by ad positions. You can't buy yourself a high click-through rate because if you're in the top spot, there's a higher expected click-through rate than if you're in the 6th spot. Just a couple other notes on keyword, ad text, and landing page relevancy factors. The relevance of the keywords to the ad in the ad group, as well as the relevance of the keyword to the search query that the user actually searches on. These are all factors, as well as the content of the page on the landing page that you send them to. The page should contain the words that you are bidding on, so that it's relevant to their search. Okay, so enough of the recap. We'll get down to some of the specific best practices and what to do about it now. When it comes to quality score optimization, Google offers the following advice. This is Google's advice in AdWords. I took a screenshot of it so you could see. Specifically they say organize your campaign by theme. You have to break down your keyword lists into more specific categories and subcategories, so that by doing this, your ads will appear very relevant to what the user actually searched on. Next, they're saying to choose your keywords very carefully. Don't use like excessively broad words that soak up a lot of impressions, but aren't very relevant to your business, because those clicks, they tend to be more expensive and lower converting. Instead, they're suggesting to use 2, 3, or 4 word more specific phrases. Those are what I call mid-tail keywords. We'll talk more about that in just a second. And next, of course, is this idea of including the keywords that you're bidding on in your ad text, as well as sending the users to the exact page on your site that has to do with what they're searching on. And both of those have everything to do with sort of the campaign organization structure of your account, because unless you segment your keyword lists into smaller, more granular ad groups, it's not possible to target them more granularly with different ad texts and URLs. All right. So I thought the format of this presentation would be that we would take a best practice such as organizing the campaign by theme, and now we'll talk briefly about how specifically WordStream makes this possible, because all these best practices, they seem very obvious or intuitive if I read them out here, but what I over the last year or two, I've looked at over 1,000 AdWords accounts, and what I can tell you is that even though this sounds obvious, I've seen like horror stories of people like not really taking to heart what this means, and they're following all the worst practices, like having huge ad groups with like no themes and just generic ad copy. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is that while it's easy to maybe understand conceptually, it's actually a lot of work to do manually, like all the work that's needed to come up with a high quality score, highly relevant ad account. And so WordStream has developed some tools to help you to do this. So let's talk about the organization by theme. They're saying use keywords and negative keywords, group them together, the closely related ones, And here's an example of this, like on the left, here's a bad example where you've got very broad keywords that are not very related to each other, and it's not reflected, the intent of the searcher is not reflected in the underlying ad. Here's a sort of an intermediate example where we're doing a little better. We're kind of narrowing the focus of the ad to speak more to cat food keywords. And on the right here, this is sort of a much better example of where you've exactly matched sort of the intent of the search, canned cat food, with a very relevant ad text and landing page. So how do you do this? Well, in WordStream, one of the neat technologies that we have is called a campaign builder. And so this is designed to help you so that when you first create a new AdWords campaign, that you're kind of putting your best foot forward. You see, quality score is a little bit of like meeting your in-laws. You need to make a good first impression. Otherwise, they get suspicious, and it just goes downhill from there, and it can be like a death spiral. And so what you do is you just enter sort of the keyword that you're trying to target, like the primary theme. And what WordStream will do is it'll dissect that primary theme into different subcategories. So within ski jackets, WordStream has detected that there's many, many different facets of ski jackets, such as men's ski jackets, women's ski jackets, Columbia ski jackets, North Face ski jackets. And within each ad group suggestion, there's sort of or different types of keywords within each keyword niche. And this is we're showing the extended AdWords metrics as well as the specific keywords. You can select and unselect the ones that you're interested in. And you see what I'm saying about the making the best first impression? It's because when you launch a new campaign into AdWords, there's this bake-in time, and Google's going to give you the benefit of the doubt to try to see how relevant your ads are doing, even though you don't have a lot of history per se. And by using the campaign builder, you have the best chance of having a really relevant campaign structure wherein you can be more specific and relevant by messaging different ads and different landing pages to the different facets of your business, of the keywords that you're targeting. So that's how we enable that best practice for new campaigns. But what about if you're like an agency, or if you're an advertiser who has an existing account and you don't want to recreate a new campaign, and you just want to kind of tweak the existing campaigns and ad groups in your account? So we have this technology called split ad groups, and what it does is you basically just pick one of your ad groups and invoke this tool, and what happens is WordStream enables this kind of analysis of your account and tries to figure out of the keywords in your ad group. It proposes a better layout, a new reorganization, saying that these particular keywords ought to be moved out of the existing ad group and put into their separate ad group, because that's an opportunity to be more specific and more relevant, and to improve your quality score by being more relevant. And so, you can review the list and just click create the selected ad groups, and that's how this works. So there you have it. We have the technology for helping you be more relevant, be more organized for both new campaigns as well as existing ad groups. The next item on the list was this idea of choosing your keywords carefully. So because so much of quality score has to do with alignment of your keywords to your ad text and your landing pages, one of WordStream's areas of great depth and rich feature set is this idea of keyword research tools. It's accessibility of the tools tab, and it's these keyword research tools that can help by getting a better insight into how people are searching for the words that are relevant to your business. By armed with this information, that you'll be able to select those specific keywords that Google suggests that you do. I thought I could just briefly tell you a little bit about the tools that we offer here, starting with the keyword suggestion tool. Now, WordStream's keyword suggestion tool, it's a very powerful technology here. It's not the Google keyword tool. We use our own proprietary keyword database. We use through partnerships with ISPs and other search engines, both large and small, including Google, Microsoft, etc. We are able to compile a 1 trillion keyword database with a lot of metrics on sort of mid-tail keywords. And so, take for example the search on buy Xbox. We're able to find really relevant keywords and variations of the keyword, as well as showing the AdWords metrics, such as estimated monthly search volume, estimated CPC, and the competition level. And so using these types of tools, you can be very specific in your keyword selection. And this is fully actionable. It's integrated with our PPC platform. There's various take action items that you can do. One is you can decide to create this into an ad group, and that would be pretty successful, because you see how these keywords are kind of very themed. They're not like all over the place. So you could message like an ad and a landing page that closely aligns to the keyword selections. You can add the keywords to an existing ad group. We have this capability of sending keywords to a workbench. The workbench is it's kind of like a holding pen, or a scratch pad, if you will, for all of your keyword ideas, so that you can just save them for later. I'll show you the workbench in just a second. Of course, you can export those to Excel or whatever you want to do with that. So that's our keyword suggestion tool. Spy on competitors is also a great way of doing brainstorming, trying to figure out sort of what keyword opportunities you might be missing out on by targeting your competitors or your partner web pages. And to do this, you just type in the URL of the page that you want to analyze, and WordStream does the very proprietary analysis and ranking of different topics, and gives you more ideas to consider. Again, one of the neat things about this is I wouldn't necessarily want to create an ad group with all these keywords, because they tend to be a little bit more less themed, if you will. So I might send these keywords to the workbench for subsequent organization. I'll talk about that in just a second. Here's the related keywords technology. Again, leveraging our trillion keyword database, we're able to detect patterns in terms of like different searches and what types of words are searched in conjunction with other words in the same session or in the same search queries. And so in this example, the user is searching for something like White House, and we're showing words like 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, Washington, D.C., Air Force One. These are other words, they're not variations, direct variations of the seed term, but rather are adjacent query spaces that you might want to consider expanding on. And one of our really neat technologies in the keyword research area is this idea of a negative keyword suggestion tool. Again, this is powered by our trillion keyword database. When you have a trillion keywords, you can actually figure out how of the keywords that you've selected in your ad group. I can tell you some of the keywords that your search queries you're likely going to be matched against when you go live, and so you can be a little more proactive and figure out sort of well, in this case, I'm bidding on the word long tail, but I clearly wasn't intending on bidding on the word long tail shirts or long tail boats or lobster tails, or and so I can just build up my negative keyword list and be a little bit more proactive by applying negative keywords before the damage is done. And that's one of the advantages of leveraging the WordStream Trillion keyword database. So this is moving along here. One of our other technologies is the keyword grouper. Again, usually what I found is that search marketers, they have like lists of keywords. Either they use different keyword tools or they get lists of keywords from their analytics. But the problem with these lists is that they're just all over the place. And so what you can do is use WordStream's keyword grouper tool and paste in a list of keywords from your analytics or from your search query report data or whatever. And WordStream will analyze the list and suggest sort of the most promising groupings from that list. And then this is kind of work that would take forever to do manually in Microsoft Excel that we're able to do very quickly. That's kind of what I was talking about earlier about you know, being relevant and being organized. It's actually quite hard to do without intelligent automation. Let's see here. So far I've talked about some of our tools for doing keyword research and creating, you know, new campaigns. But what about ongoing quality score management of your account? Because AdWords is a live, sort of ongoing, dynamic ad auction marketplace. And you have to be constantly, you know, looking at your campaigns and ad groups, trying to optimize, because it's very competitive. You don't want to just set it and forget it. You want to be tweaking and testing new ideas and improving the relevancy and the sort of the scope of your account. So to do this, we've pioneered some very powerful quality score management technologies. Specifically, say you had like some ad group for like snowboard bindings here, and you wanted to, you know, do some continuous ongoing optimizations for those existing ad groups. You know, two of the tools I wanted to bring to your attention is this idea of ad keywords and ad negative keywords. So ad keywords, what that's going to do is it's going to, in this case, this is just an example account, so there wasn't any spend data, but it would do a analysis of the keywords that you're bidding on. It would try to find, you know, promising opportunities that you might have missed out on, and it's very easy to you know, select the most promising ideas and click apply. Now, keep in mind, this is very different from you know, AdWords opportunities tab, because, you know, we're not going to suggest words like internet or, you know, skiing. You know, we're employing more intelligent algorithms, trying to figure out what the topic of your text ads are and the topics of the keywords are, as well as the you know, the performance of the keywords in your account, and trying to really distill sort of the best ideas so that you don't have to spend so much time doing that research yourself. Ad negatives works the same way. It tries to highlight sort of the least. It's the opposite. It tries to highlight the least promising looking keywords in your account and suggest negative by doing that analysis, as well as looking at our trillion keyword database. And then in this example, there's like, you know, a word for like lock down Windows Explorer. This particular company doesn't do anything with the locking down browsers. It's like a, you know, PC workstation and server lockdown thing. So this would be an example of a non-converting keyword that it detected, and you could apply this as a negative to eliminate that waste. Now, Google actually says that negative keywords don't affect the quality score of a specific keyword. That's because the quality score has to do with the exact match scoring, like the click-through rate of a particular keyword in your account. However, I can tell you for sure that ad negatives, like by adding and using negative keywords, you're going to improve the click-through rate of your overall account, which is one of the factors used in calculating quality score. And most certainly I can say that it'll save you a lot of money, because there's tons of wasted spending that happens in every account. Like we're talking, like, you know, usually it's somewhere between 10 and 30 or 40% is what I've seen. One of the newer innovations that we've recently developed in the last couple days is this idea of WordStream saving alerts. So WordStream saving alerts are every week we'll do a comprehensive analysis of your account automatically and try to bubble up the most promising looking, or the most promising saving opportunities, or basically wasted spend in your account, and to eliminate that. And couple highlights. It's a weekly alert stream, so it's just like an expert search marketer having gone through your account once a week, giving you you know, expert guidance and workflow. And we prioritize the results and calculate the exact impact of doing the changes. And we can do that by looking at what you've actually spent on those non-converting keywords. And you can keep track if your boss needs to kind of understand like how valuable of an employee you are, or how much work you're doing on behalf of a client. You can show them like actual savings, annual savings from doing this type of work. All right. Just one other technology here I wanted to talk briefly about. It's like we're actually still in the category of picking specific keywords and being relevant. One of the technologies we have is called Query Stream. The Query Stream is a unique technology for WordStream that gives you actionable insight into the exact searches that people are searching for when people are searching for your products and services and they click on your ads. WordStream's Query Stream technology exposes the exact search queries that they typed before they landed on your site, and we provide a lot of advanced filtering, such as find me the converting keywords or find me the non-converting keywords, and you can manually set different filters and then look for promising opportunities, and it's actionable because you can add these ideas into your account or set them as negatives if you disagree. So that's Query Stream for you. And finally, there's just one last tool I wanted to talk briefly about. We talked about it a little bit in passing. That's the WordStream Keyword Workbench. So it says this is it's like I was saying earlier, it's like a scratch pad or a kind of a like a substitute for an Excel spreadsheet, a way to do your brainstorming without on the drawing board before pushing it to the live account. And so the way this works, it's the WordStream Keyword Workbench, and it's the ultimate keyword workbench for organizing and analyzing and exploring keywords in different ways. And to start, you just follow these steps. Step one is you need a list of keywords. So you need to compile your big list of keywords, and there's a lot of different ways that we support compiling a big list of keywords. One of them is we can download all of the searches that people have ever done in your AdWords account. You can use the keywords in your account, and we support like uploading files from other keyword tools or dumps from analytics or whatever. And even our keyword suggestion tools. Remember how you could do searches and you could push those keywords over into this kind of this workbench area. Step two was to set your grouping preferences. So one option is to leave the keywords ungrouped so that you can do the organization by yourself. The other option is let WordStream just automatically do some types of keyword organization work for you. And then finally, you just click on Go to the Keyword Workbench, and what you'll see is this powerful interface for doing it's for creating your taxonomy. You see a taxonomy, which I'll define as being sort of all of the different ways that users are searching for the products and services that are relevant to your business. You want to, in AdWords, the key to success is to be able to understand all of the different ways people are searching for your product, and you want to be able to then kind of organize that information into sort of a information architecture here, into the different categories and subcategories, and then be able to model different types of ads for different types of searches. And so this is a kind of a modeling area. It has a lot of powerful tools for doing this work, including like keyword group suggestions, finding new keywords, adding keywords to existing groups. You can delete keywords. You can run metric reports like to figure out like how promising the keywords are, it's just a very powerful tool for creating categories and subcategories. And this is it's not cement. It's like you can actually update. It's very fluid. You can import more keywords into your database. That's one of the challenges that I have with using Excel to do this type of work. It's it's having done some keyword organization work in Excel, and then a month goes by or a week goes by and you have new ideas. It's very hard to sort of refactor the new keywords into your existing work, and so that's one of the features here. And then, of course, it's fully actionable, so you can take the work that you do once you've structured the exact taxonomy of your users. You can create ad groups from it or campaigns from your work. And this really is the key to matching quality score. It's matching different types of queries with different types of ads and landing pages. So I forgot to click forward. There were some animations here. All right. Well, we actually spent a few minutes, about 15 minutes on being specific, being relevant, and being organized, as opposed to spending a lot of time on the last two best practices, which were sort of the using the ad text, the keywords in your ad text, and making sure that you use the right destination URL. The reason why we're not spending a ton of time on this is because we've already done all the work. You've already by having broken up your big keyword lists into smaller lists, and I went over a lot of different strategies of how we could do that using Campaign Builder and Workbench and split ad groups, and by using specific keywords instead of broader keywords, it's now very easy to exactly target the intent of the searchers in your ad campaigns. Let me show you how this works. So in WordStream, so you could choose like an ad group like the snowboard helmet ad group. That's something pretty specific, and you could then create a new text ad, and here you could craft a very specific ad that's kind of spoke directly to what they're looking for, and you can then send them not just to your home page or something, but to the actual product page on your site pertaining to red snowboard helmets. And so this, by increasing the relevancy of your ad, you're more likely to get a higher click-through rate. The person who's searching for this, they have a certain thing in mind that they're looking for, and they'll see your ad. They'll say, hey, that's exactly what I was looking for. I'm going to click on that. That's going to improve your click-through rate. It's going to improve your conversion rate, because they're not going to go to your home page. They're going to go straight to exactly the page that has what they're looking for. They're more likely to convert to a sale. You see how keyword being specific and being organized is the key here. All right, so I want to talk briefly about diagnosing quality score issues. And so, in general, what I'm finding is, like, if you're in the area of 0 to 3, that's probably pretty bad. 4 to 6, it's you shouldn't beat yourself over this. 4 to 6, you're okay. Quality score is very tricky, and it's to master, and there's definitely room for improvement, but I'm saying that's okay. And 7 to 10, don't touch it. It's great, but really, like, it's sometimes context matters. Like these quality scores, there's just like numbers in your AdWords account. It's sometimes really difficult to really figure out what the issues are. Why is your quality score so low? And so one of the things that we've developed at WordStream is this quality score assessment. And I want to show you the quality score assessment that I did. I actually did this one on a customer just a couple weeks ago, and you can see what I've done is I've gone into their account. I've done some research work into sort of what are the issues. This shows like the number of different keywords that are in the account at the different levels, and I'm overlaying sort of what I would expect a normal distribution to look like based on all of the accounts that we see with like hundreds and hundreds of customers. That we have a lot of good data to kind of sort of contextualize what is a good or bad quality score. And you can slice and dice this data in a lot of different ways, like, okay, that's just the number of keywords, but what about the spend, like the spend for those keywords? Am I spending most of my money on poorly performing keywords? And in this case, in particular case, that was the problem, that all of the spend was, at some of these 2 and 3 and 4 level quality score keywords. And so just other ways of visualizing the data has to do with looking at, the cost per click for your different keywords and against quality score, as well as the average click-through rate. Even other things like the length of the keyword. You would expect, Google is saying to use 2, 3, 4, and 5 word keywords. Those are going to be the more relevant keywords, and we can do some analysis there to try to figure out where the opportunity is. And finally, we do this a little bit of a mathematical projection of like, what the opportunity is in your account. And so this particular account, the average volume-weighted quality score was 3.92, and I was thinking that if we could just do some some restructuring and some optimization in the account to try to improve the average to a 5, which I think is attainable. You know, these are just estimates. It's not like an exact science here, but you know, you could expect to see either a reduction in their spend of $5,000 a month to like $3,900 a month, or conversely, if they just took the savings and redeployed it into their AdWords spend, and if there was opportunity to be had in the account, then you could purchase that many more leads. And so, you know, typically what happens, it's like a balanced approach where they, you know, cut spend a little bit and try to improve conversions a little. But this is the type of in-depth quality score analysis that WordStream can do on your account. This is no puff marketing gimmick. I actually, when I was a consultant, I would charge, you know, $2,000 for this kind of assessment because it was very time-consuming. But I think, you know, if you want to really get to the bottom of the relevancy and quality score of your account, you should schedule an appointment with one of our AdWords certified account managers, and we can work through the issues with you and try to help you through them. So in summary, I hope you can see today that you know, WordStream is the PPC platform that's specifically designed for doing quality score optimization through improving your relevancy, and which in turn improves your click-through rate, which in turn improves your quality score. You know, relevancy, of course, has other benefits, including, you know, simplified reporting and bidding, you know, improved conversions rates. It's a very powerful central key performance indicator to try to work on. You know, our tools, they're very, they'll give you a very powerful competitive advantage that's powered by our trillion keyword database. Like, we have a very good understanding of all the things that people are searching for in the universe, and we're able to project that information into your account so that you don't have to spend all the money to like figure it out. And coupled with some pretty powerful tools and algorithms, you can get a lot of you know, automation going on, and it'll enable you to be more successful. And again, I just want to reiterate, I highly recommend that you sign up for the quality score assessment on your account to help you get really do a deep dive into the quality score issues that might be in your account. So that's sort of concludes sort of the presentation part of my presentation. At this point, I wanted to turn it over to my colleague Laura Taylor for your questions. Laura, do we have any questions from our listeners today?
We do. We have a few questions. The first question was one that we always get: will the slides for this presentation be available? And yes, we will let you. We will let this audience know when we've posted both the slides and the actual video from the webinar, so that you can go back and access it in the future. Okay, another question from John. He asks, how will my initial bid affect my quality score?
I think that your initial bid has to be above the minimum first page bid estimate. And when I start a new campaign, I like to just give it a little bit of breathing room. So maybe you know, not being so conservative on the bid, you know, for the first little bit of time, like a week or so, just to give it a chance to run. You know, Google says the bid doesn't affect the quality score, but we know that bid doesn't impact like impression share and stuff like that. So without a high enough bid, you're just not going to generate enough impression share to get that good quality score metric.
Okay, and another question from Kathy. She asked, how fast can you expect to improve your quality score if you start to employ some of the techniques that you talked about in the webinar?
It depends on various factors, including the velocity of clicks and spend in your account, including sort of the account history. Like, do you have a wretched history in your account that it's going to be like, again, going against you, that it's like you made a bad impression with the in-laws and it's going to take a long time to dig yourself out of that hole or something. Overall, within maybe the first month to 3 months, I would expect, just on average from the small and medium-sized businesses that I work with, that you could start to see an uplift there. But just keep in mind that this is not a sort of like a one-time thing. That's why there's the ongoing kind of tools for doing quality score management on a kind of weekly or periodic basis.
Great. And there was a question from Sue. She asked, what can I do within the WordStream platform that I can't easily do within Google AdWords?
Well, I think most of the stuff that I showed today, like our Workbench, our savings alerts, all of these technologies around improving quality score on a continuous basis. I think that either they're not there in AdWords right now, or like in the case of some of our tools, like adding keywords to an existing ad group. Like I think the quality is just so much better in terms of like providing meaningful, relevant keyword suggestions instead of excessively broad keywords that are not likely to succeed.
Okay, and a question from Bob. He had asked, is there an optimal number of keywords to have in an ad group?
People often come up with a number like 10 to 25, but I think the reason why they do that is it's just a rule of thumb. The main idea is that you want to make sure that the keywords in an ad group speak to the same intent. If the keywords in your ad group are talking about completely different products or completely different ideas or intent on this part of the searcher, then you should break it up into two different ad groups.
Okay, and then there was a question from Cindy. She asked, how much or does actual page load time impact quality score, and if so, how important is it?
It's one of these factors where if it's very bad, it can be significant. Like I think you should be targeting 3 seconds or less. Now, will you do better if it's like 2 seconds as opposed to 2.5 seconds? I feel like it's kind of like a pass-fail. But keep in mind it's overall that category of landing page and other factors. Those are kind of the smaller components of click quality score, and the largest component was the click-through rate.
Okay, and there's a question from Chris. He asked, is there a way to check the quality score of your competition? Or quality scores of your competition?
No, that information is not available. However, WordStream has a lot of, we've got a lot of data from like having lots and lots of clients, and when you do the quality score assessment, sort of the average quality score metrics that we're benchmarking you are based on kind of data that we're seeing in accounts that are in the approximate spend range that your account is in.
Okay, okay. And then there's a question from Diana. She asked, how often does Google look at your keywords and your account data to determine what your quality score is? So basically, how often is your quality score changing?
It's a real-time metric that's changing like dynamically every time someone does a search on Google. The quality score of your keywords in your account is reevaluated. In fact, the quality score numbers that you pull from your keyword reports and from your account, those are just sort of snapshots of what the average quality score is at that point in time.
Great. And then there is a question from Andy. He had asked, you went through quite a lot of tools, and how much time would you recommend someone actually spends investing in account maintenance on a weekly basis?
Well, look, Andy, the PPC is very competitive, and there's winners and losers. Like, not everyone can be on the top 3. It's one of these things where you kind of have to, if you're going to make the investment, you want to be in it to win it, right? And so, on one hand, you should be dedicating enough time to be successful. So it depends on sort of like the relative competition and how competitive the vertical that you're in is. That said, I understand people have day jobs and there are other things to do. I think a great workflow to get into is sort of booking an hour or so. This is like for accounts between 1,000 a month spend to 10,000 a month spend. I would recommend a kind of a workflow of an hour a week, just setting the time aside and doing specific account optimizations. That, especially if you use tools like WordStream, like you can actually be very productive with that amount of time. Whereas, if you're doing it manually with Excel, that you might need much more time, like a whole week. Does that answer your question?
We'll see if he asks a little bit more. There's another question from Greg, and he asks, I might have missed this in your presentation, but does the tool show the current quality score when you're inside the tool? So meaning, I'm assuming he's talking about the WordStream platform. Is the WordStream platform always showing the current quality score?
It's the most current quality score for which we have data for, yes. And we also surface those numbers not only in the keyword column, but also like in the ad text ads. We show you sort of the average quality score for a particular ad text, as well as for an ad group, as well as for your account. Now the averages are kind of less meaningful because they're just averages, but we surface the most up-to-date information available every time you do like a get, like a download of your account.
Great. And then one last question. Actually, it's a few questions folks had asked that are similar, and it all revolves around, are you penalized for making frequent changes, testing ads, changing the keywords that are in your ad groups? There were a lot of questions that revolved around just penalization for constant changing of things.
Sure. So when you delete a keyword, the visible history, or the visible, like the metrics associated with that keyword's performance is deleted. It's not deleted. It's it becomes not visible, and for that reason, a lot of people have hesitations. They feel like all that history that they worked so hard to accrue might be lost. But fear not. Just because the visible history is reset, Google still remembers how your performance, how your keywords have done historically, and when you move that keyword to a new place, it just picks off where it left off and continues. And so as long as you're doing smart optimizations, like trying to follow those best practices, Google says that those types of changes are critical, to improving your account, and that even if things tank, like things go south, that won't. Not every optimization always works, right? Even if things don't turn out the way that you'd hoped, that change is won't affect like the overall this picture in a significant way back within and it's not a direct quotation from Google. Like there's plenty of information on the Google website that says exactly what I'm saying right now.
Great.
Another way of like Laura, another way of kind of convincing yourself of this is think of if you had a really bad quality score keyword of 1, like a quality score of 2. Do you think that just by deleting that and then recreating that keyword somewhere else in a different account, Google would magically forget all of the bad history associated with that keyword, and it would think that you're starting off at a 10 right away or something? No, it remembers. Yeah, that's kind of a. I'm sure people have seen that.
Great. That's all the questions that we have right now, and just to remind folks, we had a poll up to just ask if you were interested in a follow-up AdWords assessment. And so we'll definitely follow up with those folks who had indicated they were interested. If you didn't get a chance to indicate there are URLs right up on the screen now that you can access to request an AdWords assessment, and we'll be sure to send out the information on how to access this presentation and the video of the webinar in the future.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us today. That concludes our presentation. There's a couple links on the screen here for downloading the Quality Score Toolkit, and a link for signing up. And if you have any other questions, you can send me a note or send me a tweet. That concludes today's presentation. Thank you. Have a good afternoon.